Hey guys, what is up? It's your girl, Grace Story, and I'm back with a whole new podcast episode. Last time I saw you, we talked about all types of engagement drama. The fiancés were getting a little spicy, so I thought it was only right that we gather here today and talk about some wedding drama. Of course, why wouldn't we? It's also like wedding season right now, so I feel like things are just right, the vibes are right. So that's what we're going to do. As per usual, all of these stories are from Best of Redditor updates. These specifically are from BORU updates. All of them have some sort of conclusion or something. I'm not going to do you dirty like that. You'll be able to sleep tonight knowing how these end. Before I jump in, if you like story times about weddings or mother-in-laws or relationships or anything that Reddit tends to offer, but you also like updates, then I'm your girl. Don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, whatever the term is for engagement on whatever platform you're listening or watching on. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to hype. It's free, takes less than a second, means the world to me, and helps my channel reach more people because we're small, guys. We're just a little channel. Tiny but mighty, you know? But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into today's podcast episode. I'm Grace Story, and you're listening to That Girl the Podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in, because the new episode is starting now. Am I 35 male in the wrong because I said no to giving away my now ex-partner, 36 female, at a future wedding with her new fiance, 30 female? Yikes. Okay, this is a new account because I deleted my old one a few years ago. Basically, me and my ex split up 3 years ago when we had been together 7 years, when she came out to me as a lesbian. At first, we were very rocky when we were separated, but as we shared custody of a dog together, we had to stay civil, and over time we became not just friends again, but, in my opinion, best friends again. Especially when our dog passed away in the summer, we got very close again. I'm sorry, that's a hard thing to go through. It's important to point out that we never married. As we had both been married, we said we were in no rush. She said she was adamantly opposed to remarriage, whereas I said I wasn't bothered by it but would never rule it out. She met a new woman last year after 2 years of what she calls her quote-unquote sloot phase of newly coming out. I've met her, she seems okay, and we get on, but we're not close, just civil. They've moved on quickly, though, moving in together after only 7 months, and they're coming up to only a year together this month. I haven't found anyone yet. I've had flings and a few one-night stands, but I'm quite shy and have anxiety issues despite being told I'm a good-looking guy. The other day, she asked me if we could have a coffee, which I agreed, and she proceeded to show me a diamond ring and say her girlfriend, now fiancé, proposed to her, and she said yes, which took me by surprise considering how opposed she was while we were together. While I was still taking it in, she said that as her dad and her are estranged, he's religious and him and her family disowned her when she came out. She thinks I'm the best man she knows and would I give her away when they are married. Without thinking, I said, "You must be kidding. No way." I'm trying to put myself in like a similar position, and like at first when I read the title, I was like, "Ooh, that's crazy." But now that I know the context, I don't know. I don't feel like I guess, like, if you're taking the fact that, like, that's her best friend into account, I understand, but then if you add on the relationship, like, history, I can see where he would say no. Like, I could see both sides. And at the end of the day, it's just, like, what each person is comfortable with, and if he doesn't want to give her away because of that, I get it. But if he's not still holding feelings or, like, feeling some type of way, like, if he's not over it, then that's interesting. Like, why else would he not want to walk her down the aisle, you know? Unless there's still some feelings there. Don't have to be romantic ones, but obviously, like, maybe he still feels some type of way about the breakup. I don't want to say a grudge. There's just some negative feelings towards it. Not necessarily romantic ones, if that makes sense. I don't remember the exact words after that, but it was a very awkward situation. We paid up and left without hardly talking. She looked like she was crushed, though, and couldn't get her words out. After getting home, I got a very angry phone call from her fiancé telling me what a POS I am for crushing her dreams and putting a dampener on her big day. She said along the lines of, "Don't think you're coming to the wedding," and I equally responded along the lines of, "Don't worry, love, I wouldn't go anyway." A few mutual friends and family of mine that she still sees have rang me or messaged me saying they think I'm out of line and they're going to show their support. I've been ignoring them like it's their business anyway. I personally feel crushed all over again like when she came out to me. I feel like I wasn't good enough for her to marry, but good enough to help make her big day special. There it is, those unresolved feelings I was talking about. I don't see me and her regaining our friendship like we had, I think even if we patch up, we'll always have this over us. Am I wrong for doing it? Should I have bit the bullet and gave her away? Let's read the edit and then we'll read some comments because I'm very curious to see what people have to say. Edit. I think what's annoying me a lot is that I consider what she did a big no. Inviting an ex to a wedding is something I wouldn't do and consider it a bit insensitive on her part. Why does she, her fiance, and others think it's okay and she gets a pass on the basis that she's a woman and she's marrying a girl? Uncles and aunts of mine who divorced, stayed cool with exes, and later remarried never dreamed of asking exes to be a part of and go to their future weddings. Why would my situation be any different? Also, apologies for any ranty and off-topic replies I may have made after a while. I drank booze for the first time in years and was a bit drunk after a while. And I can tell by that second after a while. I think that the reason why people are seeing it as okay is because, like, the fiance and, like, all these family members are looking at it through the lens of you're her closest friend, whereas you're looking at it through the lens of you're her ex. It's just that's what I think is happening. But let's read some comments and then we'll decide. Yes, my dog took over my couch, so if you're watching, I'm a little further back because obviously I have to make room for him. Like, it's his world, I'm just living in it. Top comment. This has nothing to do with her being a lesbian. It would be crazy for her to ask if she was marrying a man for her ex to give her away. Said it before and we'll say it again. I am gay and do not find it brave when someone is gay and in a straight relationship and finally come out. Don't go into a straight relationship if you're questioning yourself. And OOP said, we had this very conversation when she first came out. I basically said she shouldn't have got with me knowing that she liked women and she wasted 7 years of my life, but she argued she didn't actually know and lied to herself. See, I can agree with that. Like, you don't necessarily always know, so I don't fault her for that. Like, I get that, especially if she grew up in a religious home, because that is, I feel like, pretty common in that situation. But I also, like, agree it's weird when you look at it through the lens of your ex, like, walking you down the aisle. It's like, this one relationship is giving you away to the next relationship versus, like, a father giving away his daughter to the other man, which is, when you really think about it, kind of an outdated tradition, but I understand why people still do it. But yeah, it's weird when you look at it through that perspective. So again, like, I get it. It's kind of crazy. No, goodness, no, and I'm sorry she put you in that position. I agree with you that this may be unsalvageable. Has she been paying attention to your emotional state in the slightest? And then OOP said, when we first split up, she was amazing. I was drinking loads and she was so helpful in trying to get me out of that and helping me into therapy. She also tried to help me with my self-esteem, even vetting some of my dating choices in the last 3 years. Since the argument, however, we haven't spoken really much at all, so not lately, I don't feel. We're gonna jump ahead to the update. This is 3 days after the original post. I just want to thank all those who read and took the time to comment on the original. I had lots of great advice, but one was to write a letter to convey my feelings. I was in the process of doing so when I got a text from her yesterday asking if she could come to my house in the evening so we could chat about what went down and clear the air. I agreed, and she came over, and the first thing she does is apologize for her fiance's behavior and that people had been harassing me. She admitted that she was so upset when she got home that afternoon that her partner freaked out and had a go at me without thinking, and the others found out because she has a WhatsApp group that she'd set up to talk about her proposal, and she'd mentioned it in there that she was going to ask me, so people have been messaging her on there to ask how she got on. She assures me she's going to ask people on there to leave me alone now. Okay, so people are only hearing one side of the story. She let me go first, and I said basically that I was taken aback because of her stance on marriage when we were together and the fact I wanted to marry her so much. And when she asked me, I guess all the feelings I had when she first came out and we separated came flooding back. She said she could see where I'm coming from and said in hindsight, she didn't really stop and consider my feelings because she's so caught up in her happy little world. She then said that the reason why she wants me to not only be there is that she loves me so much, and even though she's not into me sexually and romantically, she still considers me her soulmate in a way that she feels I get her more than anyone else in the world, including her fiance. This took me by surprise to actually hear, and I broke down and started crying, and so did she. See, that's what I was thinking. Like, she just genuinely considers him, like, such a good friend, like, her closest person. So I can understand that, but also, like, yeah, weird, but also not weird if you're looking at it from each perspective. After we cleared our heads, she told me I can still come to the wedding if I wanted, and there's no pressure to be involved as such. I said to her I don't think I can, as the love I have for her is not strictly platonic on my part, and to give her away on the way she wants to feel like a kick in the balls, and I just don't think I can. She seemed to get angry at this. Thinking about it in hindsight, I think she was just being direct and told me I need to accept that we're over and stressed to me that she's not into me in that way. I said I don't think I can and that we may be best to properly cut ties, at least for a time, as it's eating me up. She said if that's what I want, she understands and started to really cry. We hugged and parted there. Before she left, she told me she could tell I'm drinking again and said if all else fails and this is it, to please try and at least get sober again. To say my head's a mess is an understatement. Luckily, I haven't heard from her since she left, and I've deactivated all my social media, so I can't see what she's up to. All right. I'm gonna read the top comment. This is literally the weirdest, most unhealthy relationship dynamic post-separation that I've ever heard of. You cannot stay in contact with her. This whole thing is super unhealthy. I didn't want to say it, but that part. Like, I was thinking it, but I didn't want to say it and be wrong. But yeah, now that someone else said it, I feel comfortable saying it. Like, this is weird and like not healthy. I think that there are situations where exes can be friends, but this is not one of those situations. OOP did respond and say, I think I was so keen to keep the status quo that I overlooked my own thoughts on things. It took this to make me see sense. And then another comment says, the amount of potato needed for that chip on her shoulder she parades around with rivals the new photo of the black hole. Honestly, you guys can't be friends anymore. She doesn't seem to have the capacity to understand what the two of you shared, how abruptly she left, the manner of why she left, how quickly she moved on, and how you might have been affected. It's unfair for you to have to walk her through that. I really hope for your sake you find someone who'd be willing to treat you way better than this broad. She does lack quite a bit of emotional awareness. There are people who are that, like, naive to situations. I feel like I'm really, like, not being hard enough on her. I need to be harder on her. But I feel like she just, how did this just go over her head? And, like, this situation, the facts of it just, right over her head. But OOP did say, I hope so too. I really suffer from self-confidence issues too, despite being told I'm good looking. Before we separated, my ex used to get so pissed as people used to stop me all the time and ask me if I was Tom Hardy. I had to change my haircut, lol. So I don't perhaps get the attention from women people think I would. I'm sorry, man. This was in 2019, so I'm assuming things are good because it's concluded. But yeah, that was really interesting. And I'm assuming he did not attend that wedding. But let's move right along to the next story. Before I do, don't forget to comment your opinions if you can, you're on a platform where you can, to every single one of these stories. I want to hear the tea. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear all of it. I'm sharing my opinion, so it's only fair you share yours. Good or bad, you agree or disagree with me. As long as you keep it respectful, I want to hear it. So don't forget to do that. Am I the a-hole for ordering pizza at my friend's wedding because there was no food? Trying to reserve judgment, but that's interesting. That's a choice. Me and my wife were invited to my friend's wedding. The wedding was going to have about 70 people, with mostly family. When we got there, we were seated at a table with some other people. Nice people, and we mingled well and had a good time chatting. The wedding was also quite nice. Both my friend and his new wife were very happy. After the ceremony, every table got 2 bottles of wine, bread and butter, and there also was an open bar, so we started to have a few drinks. Then the food came out. It looked really good. The food was set up for a buffet. Okay, so there is food there. Interesting. I was half buzzed and looking forward to getting some food in my belly. And it was time to eat. Every few tables at a time were getting to get called, which is fine. The first few tables that were called were understandably the family of both sides. Then the rest were. The problem was that the family members, his in-laws, are larger people. Now, I don't shame people for how much they eat, but I noticed the helpings of food they had while I was patiently waiting for us to be called. I also noticed that they went for seconds before all the tables were called, and no one stopped them. Oh, that's not on the bride and the groom. That's on the family for just, like, not having great etiquette. But we're gonna keep pushing. I didn't say anything, though. I thought that was rude. I just assumed that there was just a lot of food. To my surprise, by the time we were called, there was nothing left. I asked if there was more coming out, and apparently that had already occurred. So we grabbed the little we could and went back to sit down and ate the scraps. We were all still pretty hungry and a bit pissed off, so we kind of talked that the first few tables ate all the food. Someone mentioned that they could go for some pizza, and then I had the drunken idea of ordering some. So that is what we did. We all pitched in and ordered 4 large pizzas and some chicken wings from a local pizza joint close to the venue, so it didn't take long to be delivered. I met the guy outside and brought the food to our table, and we started to eat. Some of the other tables noticed and asked where the pizza came from. Apparently, some of the other tables close to ours didn't get any food either, so we shared with them. This caused some commotion because other people were looking for and asking the wedding party if there was pizza available. I guess there were others that didn't get to eat either. We did share with anyone who asked. My friend came to talk to me about why I ordered the food. His bride was not happy about it. It ruined the aesthetics, of course. So I told him that we didn't get to eat and that the food ran out long before our table was called and we were really hungry. He then asked why we didn't just step out and eat, then come back. Though annoyed about that, I respectfully explained to him that we were all drinking on an empty stomach and that it probably wasn't the best idea to have drunk people walking around looking for food. I don't think he liked that, but went back to his bride who was glaring at us. Like, what were we supposed to do? Starve? This wasn't the end, though. As we were finishing eating, one of the in-laws came to our table and he asked where the pizza came from. This is where I might be the a-hole. There were 2 slices left. I knew he was eyeing them. I asked the other people at my table if they wanted one. Everyone declined. This guy then said he'd have one. I then took the 2 slices, I put them on my plate, and started to eat them. Then looked at him and said something like, "No, you and everyone at your table had way more than your fair share of the buffet and ate all of it. This is the reason we ordered food in the first place, and now you had the nerve to ask us to share." Ooh, I'm having like secondhand embarrassment. I hate that. Like, should he have ate that much food? No. Unless like everybody else had already eaten and then you can get seconds. I feel like they usually call for seconds. Am I misremembering? I haven't been to like a ton of weddings, but I feel like they do. But like also to call him out like that, but it is pretty audacious to just like ask for their pizza. His face went red and he returned to his table. There was a lot of discussion going on there. They were all looking back at us with daggers. The bride looked even more ticked off at us. She had a bit of an argument with my friend. He eventually came back to tell us we had to leave. I didn't mean to start any problems, so me and my wife called a cab and left. He called me a few days later and we had a long talk. I explained my perspective and he agreed that his in-laws were really rude for eating all the food and leaving most of the other guests with very little. A lot of people actually complained to him about it. Everyone was drinking, thinking that there would be food, and they were disappointed. He was upset with his in-laws because he told them how many guests there would be and to order the food for that many people. He also saw how much they were taking, but assumed they ordered enough. He was wrong. He brought this up with his wife, and she said that apparently because the in-laws paid for the alcohol and the food, they felt entitled to eat what they wanted. She was really mad at them and reamed them out for tainting her special day. He also said a lot of the other non-family guests started to leave soon after we left because they too were hungry. They still had fun celebrating, but it did kind of put a downer on their special day. Out of 70 people, about 30 left. I also found out that the guy that came to our table was his father-in-law. Father-in-law was really embarrassed by what I said to him. He felt pretty bad when he found out close to half the guests didn't get to eat anything and left early. So am I the a-hole? I think you get a really soft am I the a-hole. Like, slight a-hole. Because saying that is rude, but you also could have been meaner, and you were drunk and agitated. So, like, you get a slight, like, that's not an excuse, but I also can see where you're coming from. So, soft a-hole. The in-laws are the a-hole, and all the people who ate a ton are a-hole. I mean, my thing is, if there's, like, a younger person, like, maybe, like, a teenager who's, like, the bride's younger brother or something who's bigger, and, like, the in-laws told him it was fine to eat that much, I don't necessarily blame, like, them because maybe he genuinely thought there was more food coming, but, like, the in-laws for sure. It's also just bad etiquette to get seconds, period. Like, you should not get seconds until everybody has eaten. That's just, like, manners. In my opinion, bride and groom should have ordered pizza for everybody. And this is one of those situations where it will be great to have like a wedding coordinator or planner to make sure this type of stuff doesn't happen. Not everyone wants to pay for that, and that's totally understandable, but that's kind of who these problems would be directed to, like who would solve these problems so that the bride and groom don't have to. So yeah, I think that the bride and groom should have just ordered everyone pizza. Sorry if that's like a hot take. I wonder, it does make me curious how many food places were around the venue because they said to just get more food. But let's think about this. A plate for a wedding is like what? Around like between $120 and $200. So a lot of times when people buy a gift, they're paying for their plate. So the fact that they were coming to the wedding, maybe they had to travel, maybe they had to buy a new outfit, maybe they had to pay for parking. There's all these costs and things associated. The bare minimum is to feed them. I do wonder, they said they paid for alcohol, so at least it was an open bar, but that doesn't negate the fact that, like, you have to eat. So I don't think they should have had to pay for the pizza or anything. Like, I don't think they should have had to pay for that because it's just like you expect to eat at a wedding. That's kind of like the, I don't want to say the transaction, but yeah, like it's just to not have food for the guests is seen as like really rude. But I also can see how it fell through the cracks. With me and my OCD planner brain, I would never let anyone have their hand on like the food without seeing the final count and like seeing how much there is. So I kind of wish that the bride and groom had paid more attention to how much was being ordered. But then, like, why did everyone get mad at the guests who didn't eat? That's what's crazy. Like, what do you mean? They didn't eat. I also genuinely think it's insane work that they told them to just leave and come back, like, go get food and come back. I've never been to a wedding that's like that. I mean, obviously, there's like the cocktail hour where maybe you need to go run and do something, but like, I feel like usually once you leave a wedding, you don't come back. And you could, like, especially during the reception, it's not the end of the world. But to say that is kind of bizarre. Like, I feel like everybody's just there drinking, having a good time. It's not like a in and out, literally, like, drive through situation where, like, oh, people just come and go and say hi. Like, I feel like I've never gotten that vibe from a wedding. But maybe I'm incorrect in saying that. I only have, like, my experience. So maybe that's like a cultural thing, or I'm just not on that side of weddings. There is quite a big update, so I'm gonna go ahead and read that. Edit. My goodness, I didn't think I was going to get this kind of response. So many comments. I went through a good chunk of the messages and thought it would be easier to address the common ones here. The only reason I ordered the pizzas was because I was drinking. All I ate that day was a sandwich for lunch and some bread that was at the table, so I needed something more substantial in my stomach so I wouldn't get sick. So no, I couldn't wait it out a few hours. I wasn't the only person drinking either because the open bar was booming. However, I guess I could have held back on drinking a bit until the food came out. Those saying that I fat shamed the father-in-law, I'm going to have to disagree. I didn't say anything to him about his body. I was only honest with him about why I had to order the food. I don't judge people based on looks and accept everyone for who they are, as they are. You can't judge a book by its cover, so I judge people based on their actions. If you knew me, you would see that my friends group ranges from basic people to freaks and weirdos, lol. In fact, a good friend of mine nicknamed Crusher is a big dude, absolutely hilarious and super fun to hang out with. This is not an AI-generated post, lol. My intelligence may be limited, but there's nothing artificial about it. Lastly, the buffet was at my friend's request. He loves buffets, and this was his added touch to the wedding. He also chose the dishes. I know that it is not common for weddings to do buffets, but that's what he wanted. Thanks for everyone for your comments. I will continue to read them and update this thread accordingly. We've talked about doing a buffet for our wedding. I mean, plated is definitely, I guess, like classier, but I like buffets. Like, my sister had a barbecue buffet at her wedding. That was really good. The night before she had like Mexican at like the rehearsal dinner. Both buffets, both very good. The last wedding I went to had like a southern like buffet, so like green beans, mashed potatoes, fried chicken, that kind of stuff. That was really really good. I think I've only been to buffet weddings. I feel like they're common at least in this area. We've genuinely talked about like Josh doesn't like canes, but that's like the best comparison I could think of is I would do canes, but he doesn't like it. Like we've talked about doing something like that, but maybe we'll do something a little bit nicer just because it's our wedding, you know? Might as well splurge. But I don't think like as long as it makes you happy and you're not doing something that everyone hates except for you, do whatever you want. Who cares if it's a buffet? So since he addressed pretty much most of the comments, I'm just going to skip to the next update, which is from 2 days later. Hey guys, I already have an update. First, I never stated when the wedding happened. The wedding was last week on July 20th, and this is in 2024. My friend just stopped by for a little bit. Apparently his wife was more upset than he initially said, but not at me, towards her family. He also said she wanted apologies for booting me. So father-in-law feels really bad, and he is going to step up and try to fix the situation. That's true, they did kick you out when, like, they didn't, I guess, I don't know if they didn't know all the information, if there was alcohol, like, clouding their judgment. I don't know what the verdict is, but I would, yeah, you should feel bad because you literally didn't feed these people and then kicked them out for eating. And yeah, I like saying something rude to the father-in-law, but it's not a great look. Father-in-law is going to throw a quote-unquote after-wedding shindig, LOL, his words. Everyone who is at the wedding will be invited, including me, my wife, and some additional people. They're thinking there will be about 100 guests. Does father-in-law have a lot of money? Because, like, that's a lot of mouths to feed. Like, that's 170 people total. And you're thinking, like, $120 per person? I want to say that's $12,000. Hold on. So say that it's 120, which is definitely on the lower side, times 100, $12,000. So 170 is $17,000. Good for father-in-law. Father-in-law also promised that there will be an assortment of food, more than enough for everyone, plus an army. He also wanted to personally let me know that there will be 50 large pizzas from the same joint I ordered from, and that is his way of adding some humor to the situation. I think it's pretty funny, lol. He's also going to hire a DJ or a live band, possibly have some fireworks and arrange other events like axe throwing and a bonfire. This actually sounds like it's going to be a real fun time. The only difference is that it'll be a BYOB event, which is no big deal. Father-in-law is pulling in a favor from a friend of his who owns a farm. The farm has 2 guest houses in the main house as well as plenty of space outside. About 50 people can be squeezed in between the 3 houses, so he's going to encourage people to bring RVs. I have one. Campers and tents, if they can. Nothing is official yet, but they are looking to hold the shindig around mid-August. Sounds like it's going to be a blast. I'll update you all when I can. This is how you right a wrong. Not only is this man apologizing, but he's throwing a party with, like, carnival activities and a farm. This is how you do it, guys. Take notes if you ever mess up like this. Also, I totally forgot to mention the aspect of him actually, like, ordering the pizza. I think that that's really rude for, like, the party. I'm sorry. Like, ordering food to your friend's wedding. I feel like that's not great. Like, if you were that hungry, depending on how far you were, I don't know. I feel like it'd almost be better to just leave and, like, walk somewhere to eat and then, like, sober up and go home or get a hotel room. But I don't think that, like, ordering food to your friend's wedding, I feel like that's just, like, rude. I'm sorry. I really am interested in your opinions on this because, like, again, my opinion is not reflective of everybody else's. You're not a horrible person if you've ordered food to your friend's wedding. I just personally couldn't do it. I don't know who I would bring it up to. I definitely wouldn't just be, like, loud mouthing, like, the in-laws where their table can hear it, but also they're drunk, so I get it. Dude, why does my light keeps turning off? Maybe it's overheated. I hope not. But yeah, like, I want to know your guys' thoughts because I feel like this might be a hot take. Guys, the last hot take, you guys got really mad at me, so I want to see, just keep it nice, please. I don't have the mental health to do the not nice. It's been a week. Okay. We're gonna read the final update from 6 months later. After the wedding fiasco, we got the invites from my friend's father-in-law to the after-wedding shindig. It took a while, so I honestly thought it was a joke at first, but my friend, the groom, who dropped them off, said it's happening. Just took a while to organize it. The invites mentioned food, drinks, activities, and a lot of pizza. I wasn't sure what to expect, but my wife and I decided to go. It was in mid-September, and the weather was absolutely perfect with clear skies, warm sun, and a bit breezy. Oof, that's like perfect bonfire weather. I hope you guys had a bonfire with, like, marshmallows. Oh, that makes me so excited for fall. Okay. When we arrived, we saw the setup and was blown away. The event was on this massive farm owned by the friend of the father-in-law. There were RVs, campers, and tents scattered everywhere. It looked like some kind of mini music festival. The main house and 2 guest houses were open for people who didn't want to camp, and the yard was filled with picnic tables, line games, and a huge fire pit. Heck yeah. Bonfire! As soon as we parked, the father-in-law greeted us. He was wearing this ridiculously loud Hawaiian shirt and sunglasses, grinning like he'd won the lottery. He shook my hand and said, "I'm glad you're here. There's plenty of food this time." I couldn't help but laugh. The food setup was insane. There were long tables covered with barbecue, all kinds of sides, desserts, and front and center, a pyramid of pizza boxes. I'm not even kidding. It had to be at least 50 large pizzas from the same place I ordered from at the wedding. Each box had a sticker that said Shindig Special on it. He really put effort into this. I know people who put less effort into their marriage than this man did into this party, and I appreciate it. Like, I low-key want to be friends with this father-in-law. Everyone was already joking about it. People started showing up in droves. A lot of people brought their own coolers full of beer since it was BYOB, and others even joined in the pizza theme. Some even wore a pizza print dress, another guy had a pizza-shaped hat, and there were pizza cookies on one of the dessert tables. It was hilarious. The vibe was lighthearted and fun, and honestly, it was way better atmosphere than at the wedding. There was so much going on, the axe throwing, cornhole, live music, and even some fireworks set up for later. The father-in-law was wandering around, handing out slices of pizza like it was his personal mission to make sure no one went hungry. My friend, the groom, found me and pulled me aside. He had a beer in one hand and slapped me on the back with the other. He thanked me and told me if I hadn't ordered that pizza, we probably wouldn't be here right now. As the day went on, everyone seemed to be having a blast. Dude, okay, so the light next to me keeps burning out, so we're just gonna read with one light right now. So sorry it's a little dark in here. It keeps burning out. I think that it's getting overheated, so I don't want to turn it on and catch my house on fire. But we shall keep reading. The bride even gave a little speech. She thanked everyone for coming, then pointed at me and said, "And a special thanks to the guy who turned a wedding mishap into a shindig we'll never forget." People laughed and clapped, and I felt a bit embarrassed, but also kind of proud. The night ended with the lots of fireworks and everyone gathering around the bonfire, roasting marshmallows and sausages. People were drinking, singing, and telling stories. It felt like a proper celebration, and I couldn't help but think this is how the wedding should have been. Father-in-law came up to me near the end of the night with a slice of pizza on a plate. He said he wasn't sure how to make up for the mess they made at the wedding, but thought this did the trick. I shook his hand and smiled and said this party was a hit. All in all, the shindig turned out to be one of the most memorable events I've ever been to. Everyone left full, happy, and with plenty of stories to tell. It's funny how a simple thing like ordering pizza at the wedding turned into something this big. But hey, I guess that's just how life goes sometimes. That's the update, guys. Just wanted to thank everyone for their comments. I actually never thought this post would blow up like this. On another note, I'm gonna be a dad. Baby's due in May, so I'm pretty sure the night of the shindig, she was conceived. Wink, wink. I love that. Okay, let's read the top comment. This is a great story. We all make mistakes, the father-in-law, but he really showed class in how he handled things afterwards with putting together the big shindig and having such a great sense of humor. Bravo to him. I agree. And like the way that he handled this totally shifted my perspective. At first, I was like, wow, that was kind of just like selfish and like they weren't thinking about everybody else. Like they're a-holes. But maybe it was just like they weren't paying attention and they didn't intentionally mean to make sure no one else ate. Like, I mean, the seconds thing, that was crazy. Getting seconds, a little wild. But other than that, yeah, stand up, guy. You had me in the first half. I really thought that was going to go differently. We have time for one more shorter story. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Am I the a-hole for rescinding our gift for sister-in-law's wedding? My spouse and I have been planning and booking our Europe trip for April 2026. We finalized all our tickets and reservations in November of 2025. Around the same time in November, my sister-in-law announced they would have their wedding in October 2026. My spouse and I immediately offered as an early wedding gift to pay for them to travel with us on our European vacation, including flights, hotels, and activities. Sister-in-law refused because it would be weird and they preferred to save their PTO for another destination they have yet planned. Fair enough. Like, that's really nice of you, and super, super sweet, but that is true. Like, you gotta think, they're gonna have to take PTO for, like, the wedding itself, possibly, maybe not. Like, they might have to do stuff right before, last minute things. They're probably gonna have to take PTO for the honeymoon. They're gonna possibly have to take PTO for the bachelorette or bachelor party. So, you use a lot of PTO for, like, weddings. So I'm not surprised. Like, they have a point. So I don't think that's necessarily, like, a bad thing. This Thursday, literally the last full week of March, the sister-in-law called and said they changed their mind and wanted to redeem our offer and tag along. Our trip is literally in less than 2 weeks. I wonder if they got FOMO. Or if, like, they thought they were going to have these big, extravagant events of, like, the bridal shower, the engagement party, like, bridal, whatever, hoopla, whatever people are doing these days, bachelor, bachelorette, and then, like, they didn't end up having those planned. Like, they sound like the type of people where, like, they expected, like, or the bride maybe expected the maid of honor to, like, plan this elaborate, like, extravagant thing, and then, like, it didn't meet our standards. But I don't know, I'm really making a lot of assumptions here. I'm gonna shut up. I looked at the last minute flight tickets and hotels, and everything is massively expensive now. We literally would have to spend almost 4K more than if we had booked for them in November of 2025. I told my spouse I no longer wanted to pay for that. We're doing well for ourselves, but that is a ridiculous difference. I volunteered to be the bad person and told them we could no longer offer that gift to them. Inevitably, drama ensued, and the entire vibe is very awkward at the moment. Some family members sympathize with me, while some others said along the lines of, well, it's just the thing with weddings. Everything is expensive, and you offered. Am I the a-hole? I feel like it should go without saying that you can't ask to, like, join a trip a week before, especially if it's international, because stuff like this happens. Especially in April, like, you gotta think, like, April usually, like, there's holidays, like Easter if you celebrate, but that's gonna cause, like, flights to be more expensive. Spring break is in April. It's just, like, a good time to travel, especially to Europe. So prices are gonna be higher versus when you do it way ahead of time. So even though you shouldn't have to say that to them, and they're definitely just being entitled, like, I don't think that you're the a-hole because you can't afford it. That doesn't have to be the reason. You can give whatever reason you want. But that's a lot of money. So you're not the able. However, I wonder, like, even though it's kind of an unspoken rule of, like, this isn't a type of gift you can just redeem whenever and prices are going to change, maybe giving a clear boundary of, like, okay, well, if you change your mind, let me know by the end of, like, 2025, just to make sure we get everything sorted. Maybe a comment like that would have helped, but either way, you're not responsible. Like, they're just low-key being kind of entitled, I feel like. Top comment, I'm having a hard time believing that anyone would say you should honor an offer made months ago that now costs $4,000 more. Who genuinely thinks that's reasonable? Exactly. OOP said, naturally, the aunties who don't have any stake in this drama. Seriously, I don't even know how news travels this fast, considering it's not even been 2 days. Another comment says, not the a-hole, but more info, please. Were they going to go on an early honeymoon? Being a wedding present, I guess, led me to the assumption that your trip coincided with their honeymoon. OOP said, thanks for your thoughts. The trip will be before their wedding, since we're traveling in April and their wedding is in October. So let's go ahead and read the update. It's pretty short, but update. Thank you folks for your thoughts and for suggesting the option to offer my sister-in-law the original money that we would have paid for them in November. Overwhelmed in our fluster and frustration, we didn't even think of that. That's true. That's a really good compromise that I didn't think about either. But at the same time, like, it was about more than just the money. Like, it's about the memories. It's about going on a trip with, like, family and things like that. But if you would still want to do that and give, like, the monetary side, I don't think there's an issue with that. And I think that's a good compromise. We will offer to gift them the money plus the KitchenAid we already bought as a replacement gift. We honestly don't want any drama and hope this will be water under the bridge. Top comment is, not the a-hole. I just find it funny that you replaced a European trip, flights, accommodations, and activities with a KitchenAid. And OOP said, my sister-in-law mentioned to their mom that they'd been wanting a KitchenAid for some time. Where we live, KitchenAid cost starts from $400 to $500. We didn't really want my mother-in-law to pay that much, so when the sister-in-law said no to our vacation offer, we bought the KitchenAid instead. So this is interesting. On the best of Redditor, like, top comments, the top comment says, my guess is the sister-in-law didn't bring this up to the fiance at the time. Then she did, like, 3 hours before she called, and he was like, WTF, you turned down a free vacation to Europe? Are you insane? And most people are, like, agreeing and being like, yeah, no, that's 100% what happened. Like, you turned down an all expense paid vacation to Europe. Are you serious? Which, true, like, if someone offered that to me, I'd do everything I could. Like, I'd probably start crying because I'd be like, in disbelief. No way. That's one of the nicest things someone could do. Like, that is genuinely incredible. And OP, like, you're so sweet to even offer that, because a lot of people, I feel like, wouldn't, even if they had the ability to. That is all I'm going to read today. That's all I got time for. If you want me to read more wedding stories, definitely comment down below, and I will make sure to include that in my docket of topics that I try to cover sporadically. If you want to hear any other topics, definitely comment those as well, so that I know what you guys are wanting to hear, what the vibes are, how we're feeling. I'll try to, aim to please around here. But that is pretty much it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow. I love you guys so much. You make me so happy. You're literally like a huge piece of my world. And I just love, like, I wish that I could have a pizza party with all of you. Like this big pizza party this father-in-law had. I wish I could throw one for all of you that are subscribing or following and personally thank you. But I cannot. So if you comment or leave a rating and review, that will have to do. I'll definitely be sure to respond and give you my thank you because I unfortunately can't do it in person with a pizza party. But that is all. I love you guys so, so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next Sunday with a new podcast episode. Bye, guys.
It was the first week.